Hello everyone, welcome to another one of these fabulous little sessions where we get to chat to each other. I'm going to be using the Pro Cut today and I've just had an hour doing troubleshooting, and you know, I'm sure these machines are human because this machine would not go wrong. I did everything I could to try and make it go wrong and it didn't do it once. I'm going to keep trying in this video so that if you actually can see it go wrong, I can show you how to put it right. So one of the things I wanted to share with you is I've got one of the tattered lace embossing folders and I want to show you a couple of different things. And you can see, look, I'm surrounded by just chaos of dyes, different brands, different finishes, all sorts of different stuff, but I'm really happy because there's no straight lines. So I've put a piece of cardstock through and I embossed it for the first time. Then I put another piece of cardstock on and I embossed the two of them together, trying to get the machine to jam. Now I'm going to put the piece of cardstock back on. So this was the first one. So this has always got two embossed passes, and I've turned it round so it was like that if I was to marry up the design. Then I moved it slightly so it was slightly offset, so I've got like a double embossing, and you can see it works really well because you've got like this shadow effect. So the last emboss finish is on the surface and then the one behind is the first pass. By turning it round, I should get the pattern going in a different direction. And this one, I'm actually going to turn over. So I'm going to get an emboss and a deboss effect at the same time. Then I'm going to close that up and put it between my plates, two of the 3mm plates. Now, to make sure it doesn't go wrong, a good idea is to just tap it so it's all straight. Although, having said that, you remember how I am about straight lines. If they're not all perfectly straight, sometimes it can be quite, it just doesn't work and it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. With embossing folders and things like this, when you've got lots of very straight edges in, that's one of the times that the machine will spit it out. So I'm going to do my best to make that happen now by pushing all of these down so that they're level right at the edge of the plate. So let's have a go and see what happens. Come on, stick, get stuck. It's not having it, is it? So it's like learning when you get a new car. Do you know what? If I wanted it to go wrong, it won't. And when I don't want it to go wrong, it will. So first of all, what happens when you get a new car? You have to learn it. You have to get used to the new engine, whether it goes faster or slower. You have to get used to whether it's got gears in it or maybe it was an automatic. You get used to the noise when it's going up the hill. You will get used to this. And the engine runs for just a couple of seconds to make sure the plates are clear once it's actually finished its cutting. So let's just have a look at this. So I've got the debossed and the embossed, and I'm going to turn it over and you can see the same I've got on here, embossed and debossed. And then, despite my best efforts of turning it round, I must have turned it back again when I was talking to you, because I've now got like a triple embossed finish. It's quite, it's a little bit like when your glasses are out of perspective or they're out of focus and you just get that like fuzzy edge. That could be quite effective. I can think of a few occasions where if we were distressing something, that could be really useful. Right, so that's one of the things that I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you another thing, but I'm going to also share a little warning with you, because if you do this, it may mark your embossing folders, but I think it was worth it because it's given me the chance to cut and emboss at the same time. So I've got here, this is the piece that I've already cut and I've already embossed. And I'm just going to place my die onto my, my embossing plate, and over the top of that I'm going to place a piece of cut tidy. Now I'm trying to protect this side of my embossing folder because when it cuts through it could potentially mark the embossing folder. So be prepared, experiment with an old one first, but this is a great little fun thing to do. And the more that we play with our dies and our embossing folders, now I've put these in wonky with the hope that maybe that might do it, but let's see what happens. When you're actually playing with your embossing folders and dies, you're going to get different effects and different finishes. The more you play with them, the more confident you'll get, and the more you'll experiment and think, oh, I wonder if, and try new things. So first of all, let me open it up. Now you can see there is a mark on my embossing folder, but I'm going to pass another piece of card through so you can see how it won't actually mark the card. But I'm also just going to lift this up and let you see what's happened. So let's take away the cut tidy, and I've been able to cut a perfect rectangle out of there. Let me just get rid of that little pip. So you can see I've cut that out of my embossed design. So that might be a sneaky peek of a new product that we've got coming up soon. But in the meantime, let's take this embossing folder and a beautifully clean piece of card and see what's happened to it. So you will get away with, not that piece because it's got some embossing on it, but you will get away with just a few lines of embossing and of cutting before it actually will properly mark the folder. So let me here's another piece, let me use this. So in fact, this is actually, you can see here, this has already got die cut shapes on it, and the die cut shapes have been stuck on. So we're going to go through 2 layers of card here. So if it is going to mark it, it will be somewhere around here. So I'm just checking where that square is or rectangle and making sure that it covers over some of the hearts. So you can see the line of it there and you can see it there. So let's test this now. So if anybody's got their pro cuts and you've had things that you've not been able to get through, dies you've not got through, where it maybe it's stuck or you haven't been able to test something properly, then what I'd like you to do, see, it's thinking about sticking, but it didn't. It still went through. So what I'd like you to do is email me so that I can help you with it. Now, can we see that line? Yes, we can. So there is a very, very faint line. I'm knowing where to look, but there's a very faint line just there. So only use that technique on old embossing folders. Your technique of using your dies for actually creating borders, absolutely, definitely use that, and it doesn't affect the plates or anything. But if you are going to do this, make sure it is an old embossing folder. It doesn't look fabulous. The way the pattern just goes over the edge of that die cut, it's really clever. Right, so let's have a little think about some of the other things that I want to show you. Okay, so let's say we want to do a card with multiple apertures in it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've got my magnetic shim, putting that onto my A3 base plate, my 3mm plate, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's because I'm distracted by thinking about this. I really wanted it to stick. And I bet you tonight, the first time I cut with it, it will, but it isn't having any of it at the moment. So I've had a couple of calls. One of them was the lovely Hannah Roxbury, who works at Carnation Crafts, and she said to me, Stephanie, when I'm putting one of our detailed dies through, I'm finding that the magnetic shim's creeping. It's not cutting as well as I'd like it to. What can I do? So like all of these things, can you remember for years we've actually worked with different machines, different weights, all of those different kinds of things. I've got a few embossing folders, and if I take two embossing folders and I put them side by side, you can see that they're different thicknesses. Dies vary by the fraction of a millimetre. Cardstock, we expect our machine to cut 120 GSM and then 300 or 350 GSM. So you have to learn to love your machine. So one of the things I said to Hannah was, I said, take out the magnetic shim that comes with the machine and put your old one in. She put it in, sent me a message and said, that seems to have worked. So I went back and said, do you need any more help? She said, no, it's absolutely fine now. So please, if you have got a die that isn't cut in, then do get in touch with me, because I want everybody to love their machine as much as I do. So let's take a little look at how we're going to assemble this set of dies. So I'm going to use this magnetic shim and I'm going to make that do the work for me. So first of all, I'm going to build myself an aperture card. So I'm going to build it with some frames. So I'm going to put, let's have it this way. I'm going to put frame there and another frame inside. So I've got those. then I'm just going to put this a little bit further on my plate. Then I'm going to take some more and I'm going to put some more apertures down the side, and I'm going to change the size of these. And I'm actually going to, and this is a good one to do on because this magnetic shim or mat has been through the wars. It's had a lot of different cuts done on it. It's not as flat as it could be. So that's another reason to show you this, because I want you to be able to see how everything is going to work really well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dies. I had 11 when I did it last time. So I'm going to get some more, but I need some more that are going to fit inside these. So let's put a little, almost like a letterbox in that one. Let me put a letterbox in that one. Oh, that is interesting because that magnet really isn't very flat. So that's all the challenges I've been given it. It didn't give up. It wasn't having any of it. And then let's have another one there. So that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need to put at least one more in. So let's have this one. We'll pop that in there like that. And then I'm going to take one of my pieces of embossed cardstock. So I'm just going to check that they're all good. This is a really nice strong magnetic sheet, and so although it isn't perfectly flat, it is really strong. So put those together, and then I need my 5-inch, my 5mm plate. Oops, not like that. Oh dear. Oh. Even, did you see how many times? Oh no, I've got it again. Now I've got the giggles. Did you see how many times I knocked over the pat shop today? Melly was just stood there shaking her head. I've not put that on straight. I've got to check it. She was stood there shaking her head, and I was trying not to. The floor manager was crawling around at my feet, trying to pick things up. It was really, really funny, but just making sure it's not moved. Don't move. I don't mean you, I mean this. Oh, I don't know what was going on, but I was just, everything was going all over the place. I think I'd got one of those days, what is it, when they say you've got, your vibes are all over the place or whatever it is. It was one of those. But look at this, all those dies I've put in there, and the blinking thing isn't going to stop. But it was so funny because, first of all, I just knocked one. I thought, oh, that's okay. I know what I'll do. I'll step to the side so I get that other camera and then nobody will see it. So the producer, director went on a wide so you could see it all. Right, now I'm going to lift this off and I want you to see what we've cut. So first of all, here's the frame. So it's cut that, all of those. Then I've cut this frame. This frame. They're straight, if not quite level, there. And then finally, this one. So the way I'd use this on a card, and I'll come back to those, I'll leave them on the board for you, is I'd put that one down and this one on foam, then that one down. So down, down, foam, foam. Or the other way, foam, foam, and then these two down. Then let's take a look at these ones. So I've got a lovely, nice set there. So again, that's another set of 3. And then I've got here another set of 3. So it's like, I wonder how many dies we could get it to cut in one go. Oh, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So there's another set. So now, because of what I was doing, this is where the fun starts. So I can now put that one down there, or I can put this one up. So that one down, this one higher, and that one over the top. And with your embossing folder, it really looks good to get these effects. Then I've got this one, so that can go in the middle with a little tiny border around it. So that's there. And let me just get those lined up. You go in there. And then I'm going to get this one and put it round there. So that would need to be up. And then I've got these two as well, which, so how many did I get? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. And think about all the different layering and how you could be creating the frames. And if I take that one out, take those, let me get rid of that, bring these back. So this one, so that one with a small border, that one with a frame on top, and that faux finish where you get the white on white, it looks really effective, especially when you're embossing with it, because that brings the design all together. Then I could be putting my plaque just at the bottom there, and then that might be my sentiment. That might be best wishes. This might say to you, and then the flowers go round the side. It's really good to be able to see all the different effects that you'll get. Now, I'm actually, on the day and the time that we should be doing Facebook Live, I'm actually going to be in Peterborough and I'm going to be on air. So I'm going to be doing painting pages first thing in the morning. So I wanted to show you, finally, we have got the product to be able to share with you. So somewhere under this pile of stuff, which is under here, you will see these. And these have been designed so that this is going to be the teaching guide that we're going to use to do our step-by-step painting. So I'm actually going to be painting on some MDF tables, and I'm really pleased because the tables are just $14.99 each, so very, very affordable. I'm going to be working with the Cadence paints. I've made sure we've got all the product back in stock. I just hope to goodness there is enough. I'm going to work with the extender as well because I want you to see how that works. And we've also got the brushes that I'm going to use for this collection in as well. So we're going to be doing step by steps. I'm going to show you how from a colour palette that I've got, I can do multiple different colours of flowers. And I've actually drawn those out on boards ready to show. So I want to really make sure that everybody can get into painting with me. It's going to become a regular thing. I'm going to do this every month. I've already prepared the next 4 or 5 months for you. So we're going to learn to paint together. I'm going to be teaching Mel Heaton. David, who I'm on with later on in the day on Thursday, is also going to be learning it as well. And it's just going to be an exciting time for everybody. This year, I might even paint my Christmas cake. In fact, let's do that. You learn the strokes and then together we'll paint Christmas cakes for Christmas. So, although it's been a little bit chaotic and not quite our normal structure, how can I say that? Not quite the normal structure you're used to. They're all like this, aren't they? I'm going to leave you with the thought of getting stuck into painting and really playing with your Pro Cut. And please let me know if it jams, because I'll swap you machines.